I'm gonna do 4 just for fun.
I've got, in case somebody else walks in, because I've got it printed out.
Yeah. All right. Ted, it's saying remove permission to record local files. So I had given it to you. It is there. I didn't do a thing. Okay. All right. Let's see. 1 second. Co-host. Yes. Okay. Where? Oh, there you are.
Here she comes. I've got one. I printed out beforehand. And, yeah, those 3.
Okay.
we were more timely and had less technical difficulties when we were all Zoom, but
That's for sure.
are we ready? Are you ready, Janice?
Are you asking me? I'm ready.
Okay. Well, then let's call the meeting to order. This is the regular meeting, the second regular meeting for the month of October. Welcome, everyone, both in the virtual and the here in the town hall. There's a bunch of potential additions to the agenda. I didn't hear back from David to know whether there might be potential deletion.
Yes, there's a potential deletion.
That being the cannabis one. So that one can come off. We can table to the next time. 8.2. Are you okay with the suggestions that I made for additions?
No,
No. Sorry.
I think we should take off the interview.
Why?
Well, I think that we should wait until we have the other people who also wanted to apply.
Why would?
And it's not fair to interview one without the others, because then that one of them could be a disadvantage. It's simply not fair. So it's not fair to do one now and then have him delayed getting anything while we talk to other people and forget what he had said. That's phenomenally unfair.
I just usually when things work out well, we have a little discussion about what questions we want to ask the person.
Yeah.
And even, you know, to try and get information about, you know, that also speaks to what we're looking for. So or what we're hoping for.
I don't remember ever doing that because
Yeah, we usually did that.
Those prime questions are part of the application.
Well, that was,
We saw that
no, that was,
today.
no,
Yeah.
those questions were not, that's another issue.
Yeah. The fundamental problem was that I expected us to be, the deadline was supposed to have been October 17th, not
Right.
November 17th. And consequently, anybody who was, you know, if we're going to deal with it in a timely way, any application that we would have had, we should have had in hand Monday.
Right,
And in order for us to have them reviewed for Wednesday.
right.
I discovered that we had, so what I was trying to do was to get it, you know, on the agenda. So, well, we could at least deal with the town board because we've only got one applicant. We had 3 applicants for the
Sorry,
planning
but we
board.
don't have only
I think
one.
there's 2.
If you read the narrative in the
I think there's 2,
applications, there's
yeah.
another one who applied for the
It was
town board.
what do you call it, misfiled, if you will, as a
Well,
planning board.
you know, but, you know, that's a whole nother matter. We need to spend maybe
Yeah,
some
yeah,
time
but
at the
anyway,
next meeting
Yeah,
about
but a more
redoing
fundamental
the
problem is,
process.
but the more fundamental problem is that what ended up getting put in the Danby Town News was November 17th instead of October 17th. So I was assuming that it was the 17th and the deadline for applicants had already passed. but that's in fact not the case. So I thought it'd be just as well, do one now and there'll be one less to do later, particularly since Steve said he would come, but and he's here, right? Yeah. But if you want to come back, I suppose.
I mean, I don't mind since he came and he bothered to, he
Yeah,
bothered to come,
yeah.
but I have, I have only recently seen his resume, which was great. And the application is asking questions that I don't necessarily want to know about. That's changed from what we approved, the questions, 3 questions that we approved. The first question is something like, why do you want to get involved with town governance? I don't want to ask that question. I'm not really interested in that. I want to know why, it's, why are you interested?
Yeah. I didn't realize that the application had changed.
Yeah, it's changed. And there's, the original application is the one that was approved, has contact information.
That's in work drive.
Huh?
But that is in the work drive. It just wasn't shared with the public. So what's linked to the agenda is only the base, the content of the application.
Okay, I'd have to go back and look. I didn't see anything except for the resume with contact information. But anyway, it's still changed. It's different.
Well,
But
well, that's a question for Janice. Janice, did you change the questionnaire?
I changed nothing. I typed up exactly what was on the paper copy that was in the office.
Okay, somebody else changed it then. It was, we can deal with it. We'll figure it out later. We'll figure it out later.
I think the application, the question is actually in the appointment procedure resolution.
Attached to it.
At the end of it, it says, here's what the application looks like.
Right. So we'll duke that out. But I mean, if he came and you told him, I mean, the other part of the procedure is that we decide who we're going to interview, as a group.
Right.
But,
I'm happy to comment later.
If you want to, if you're agreeable, Steve. Then,
I'm just 15 minutes away.
yeah.
I was interested in your
Nobody
connection
can
to
hear you
Lesotho.
unless you're at the mic.
Well, that's true too. What Steve just said, Steve Weisberg is here, and just indicated he'd be happy to come back if we wanted to do them all together. And it sounds like you do. Okay, so let's in light of that, let's not put that down there. Are the others okay?
Wow.
We have applications for the review board and committee openings. I didn't see any of that.
Say again?
We have applications for the review board and committee openings. What does that mean?
Oh, it's not a review board, but review board and committee open seats.
Yeah.
In other words, I'm supposed to
Go through the
in
list.
October at the meeting, which is now, present to the board and to the public what the openings are that people can apply for.
Right.
Good.
I'll
and
do
we-
that.
yeah.
But it hadn't made it to the agenda before it passed the deadline for submissions, which is why it's an addition.
Right.
Right.
So we
Yeah,
take,
we know that.
can we move all of those down to business then?
Okay.
And put them at the head, they'll be easy. Yeah. Okay. Any other additions or deletions?
I mean, we can reset submission deadline.
Well, that's because, well, we'll get to that. Because we had set the deadline as October 17th. And so we need to revisit that because November 17th is the day after our second board meeting in
Okay, all right, so we'll just change it to November.
something else,
Okay.
right?
All righty.
Okay. So, privilege of the floor. Is there anyone who would like to address the board on any matter? Okay, good. Now come on up.
Come on. up.
Well, it's not.
Oh, is it?
Oh,
Is it down under tentative budget review?
Oh, yes.
Okay, okay.
Yes, that's where it is.
community park.
The park,
Pardon?
the community park?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, the tax cap override.
Oh, the tax cap
Okay,
override.
that
Okay.
you would talk to us about now.
Yeah,
I will.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
My name is Cindy Sirachi. I live on Gunderman Road. And you're-
Can you speak into the microphone, please?
Might not be turned on.
Is it on?
Somebody help her.
Up is on, right?
Oh, there you go.
My name is Cindy Sirachi. I live on Gunderman Road.
Thank you.
I've been a resident here for over 40 years. I am very concerned about the rumors that I've heard that there's going to be a tax cap override. I'm not real good at math, but my assessment already went up 13%. If you're going to override it by more than 2%, I'm now at more than 15%. And I would like some justification of why we're having taxation without representation. And also, I understand that there's to be a public hearing regarding the tax levy override. And I would like to know when that's going to happen.
And that was at the last meeting.
So that means I'm shit out of luck?
Well, as far as participating in the public hearing, yes, but you have the opportunity now to tell us what you thought about it, which
Okay, so how much are you planning to raise the taxes?
that's what we're working on.
As little as possible.
Yeah, right.
But
So-
the main reason for overriding the tax cap law is that Woody wants to do it. I think we've done it 2 times in the last 10
We've done it every year as far as
Yeah,
as long as I can
we
remember.
override it and we hope to stay under it. My guess is this year we might end up going over a little bit, but.
I don't understand the numbers.
we
You're
don't-
you're not giving me any numbers.
yeah, we
I have
don't numbers
no,
right now, 'cause we're
I have
still working
nothing
through the
to
budget.
compare it to.
Hold on, and maybe Joel can explain it better, but if we don't pass this override law, when we do up the budget, if we need to go over the tax cap by $100, we will not be able to do it. So that's the only reason to pass the law now, just to enable us to be able to go over the tax cap.
What are you anticipating? How much percent over 2%?
I can answer that.
Go ahead.
Because what I can tell you, there's 2 stages to the budget. Tentative budget is what the supervisor is responsible for proposing to the town board. And then the town board takes that tentative budget and it works it over, which is what we were doing in the last hour, and worked at it. Next meeting, we're going to do more of it later in the meeting, and probably in an additional meeting, and maybe 2. Carefully going over the budget and reviewing it and saying whether or not what was proposed is agreeable, or whether we want to spend more or less. And that becomes a preliminary budget, for which there will then be a public hearing, probably in early November, where the public gets to weigh in and say, okay, what you've come up with, we're okay with, or we're not okay with. And then based on the feedback in the public hearing, we can modify the budget yet again until we have until mid-November sometime to actually pass it. So where we are right now is that the tentative budget is being reviewed. That includes an increase of about 8% in spending.
8?
8, yeah.
You may have to pick me up off the floor. I'm sorry, my paycheck did not go up 8%. When will the public get to see this proposed budget?
The tentative budget is already available.
I couldn't find it online.
Yeah,
It should-
it's in the agenda for tonight's meeting, it's in there.
Oh,
If you go to the meeting link and wait a minute, the agenda comes up, and in there should be links to a lot of the documents that are.
well, it wasn't there a few days ago when I was looking for it.
It
might-
should
yeah.
be there, and if it's not, we'll make
Yeah.
sure that it gets up there.
Okay. And when will the public hearing be?
We'll probably decide.
We're
that
gonna
later.
set that tonight?
Yeah, exactly. I think, probably November 1st.
Okay,
That's our first regular meeting in November.
okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Anybody else from?
It occurs to me,
If you're going to speak, Steve, you need to speak to the mic.
Okay. Well, my question is for the board director.
Sure, but I mean, the people need to hear it too.
Sure. If the interviews are not tonight, I'm just wondering when they will be, because it occurs to me that I will be out of town the second week of November.
It'll probably be, well, we don't know. It'll probably be the
What's the first?
third week in November, right?
The first Tuesday, right? The first,
Well, the first meeting is on the 1st,
yeah,
and the second meeting is on the 16th.
yeah.
We'll be back by the 16th?
Can I peer at that, Cal?
After.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Rhonda,
Oh,
you have to give her permission to unmute.
yep, I just gave you permission.
There you go.
So that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. If I were sitting in that room, even before the meeting, I would have been able to talk to anybody who was there. And I object to this policy of muting people the minute they come online, because the people in the room are not muted. The second thing is that last night I was muted. And while you were voting on the decision about the Arsenal property, the name was misspelled, and I had no way of telling David. And my feeling is that if you don't spell the name properly on the decision is bogus. The second thing is that if I'm sitting here and I'm attempting to find something that's on the agenda, such as the tax cap override law, when I click on it, it leads to nothing. And I have no way of telling you that when I'm muted, because I'm not allowed to type in the chat. So all day today, I've been trying to see this tax cap override local law, and there has been nothing there, and there is nothing there now.
It's there now.
I will jump in, Rhonda, and say that you can actually text in the chat. Ted texted me in the chat. The link to the documents were internally published as opposed to externally published. So that was the mistake that happened. It has been corrected and you should be able to access them now.
Okay, so,
So it's linked on the agenda.
well, it wasn't 2 minutes ago.
I literally was just messaging with Ted at 6:17.
Okay, so
I thought it was, because when I looked at it, it was, but evidently, because it was I who looked at it, it was linked even, but it wasn't linked for you. Yeah.
Right.
That was an error for which I'm sorry.
This whole.
Let me tell you, Rhonda, why. When people talk here to each other, they're not talking to everybody else. And if they do it too loudly, I ask them to please take the conversation out of the room because we're trying to conduct the meeting. If you interject in the course of the meeting by unmuting yourself, you're talking to everybody and you're interrupting the meeting. That's why we eliminated you can unmute yourself. It's the chair's responsibility and privilege to allow someone to contribute to the meeting outside of privilege of the floor. And for that, you raise your hand and I'll recognize you if I think it's appropriate. You had something else you wanted to say.
Well, I was just saying that I felt that if the decision last night had the wrong name on it, that it wasn't valid. Thank you.
Ted. I'll do you next.
Yep. Well, actually, it's odd that the two previous speakers in privilege of the floor both addressed issues that I wanted to raise. Joel, I think you are splitting hairs about the muting business. The fact is that if someone is sitting in the meeting room and is having a discussion that's too loud, you would in fact ask them to leave. If they're on Zoom, you can in fact ask them to mute. However, a person who's going to be an obstruction in the meeting room cannot be muted. What would you do? So you're imposing a restriction by doing this on people who are attending by Zoom, which not only is quite annoying, because there are times when the public does have something valuable to contribute. I don't consider myself a person who'll just start yelling for no reason, but if I see you, for example, well, we'll come to details in a minute, that you're making an error. Well, let's say an error in the spelling of somebody's name. I would just say, hey, I think you got the guy's name spelled wrong. That's not going to upset anybody, and that is going to facilitate the process of good government. So I understand what you're trying to say, Rhonda, but I think Joel, I understand what you're trying to say. Rhonda, however, is correct. You're really applying a standard here. And when was the last time you recognized somebody from the floor, Joel? Think it through carefully. Now, as far as what Cindy spoke up about, yeah, I think what the town board responded to her was pretty correct. There's no way this town is not going to override the tax cap. It has to. It absolutely has to. Otherwise, it would have to go into an austerity budget you wouldn't believe. That's the way the tax cap law was set up. That's the way the times are. However, the question that Cindy didn't really go into in a great depth was, why is it going up by so much? Now, I unfortunately missed the first half of the budget meeting today. I arrived just in time to find that what it amounts to a computer maintenance a contract for under $1,000 is all of a sudden being hiked up to $30,000 for something called security. I find it very difficult. I do not find it difficult as a computer professional to believe that somebody would ask you for that much money. I find it very difficult that you need that kind of security that's available with that money. And I also noticed that there were other items, thousands and thousands of dollars for things that you could have for free if you didn't want to go the way you have gone. There are other alternatives. So the questions that you really should be asking here, these thousands, which amount to tens of thousands of dollars by the time you're done, do we really need, what did you say last meeting, Joel, 7.5% tax increase? 7.5, 8, do we really need that much? Or if you look at it and say, look, I'm just gonna say no to some of these things that are being asked for and go down to 4%, 3%. Trust me, it's going to be a lot of money coming out of people's pockets. I mean, even the price of a hamburger has gone through the roof, and having to pay for taxes for heck, my school tax bill, you wouldn't believe I've seen that. I think you're spending unwisely. Maybe not unnecessarily, but unwisely. Thank you.
My name is Judy
Oh, wait,
Barger.
is it on?
Yeah. My name is Judy Barger. I live over on West Miller Road, and I have two questions. If you do raise the cap, go over the 2% cap tax, like Ted Crane said, maybe at 4%, and you don't use all of the 4%, does that go into a slush fund for the next year? Or do you keep on, adding more on our taxes? That's number one question. Number two, West Danby, are they part of our taxation for this area? That's why we pay for their water.
No,
We don't pay for their water, just West Danby pays for their own water.
Right.
But they're also in our group of the tax cap also,
Yeah.
correct?
Right. The tax
Okay.
cap applies townwide.
Okay. So how many people, the residents of West Danby and Danby, are in this area? What is the population?
The total population of the town is 4,500 approximately.
No. Lower than that, I'm pretty sure.
Not a whole lot.
About 35.
It's 35,000.
Oh, 3,500?
3,500, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I'm sorry, I'm missing. I'm thinking
Yeah.
that Ulysses, it's Anyway,
Okay, on
Anyway, about
the
3,500.
3,500 people, I went back on the old budget from 22, and I don't know if you, by standards of New York State budget, that you have to keep on repeating things, because I'll see, you know, how much you paid for the highway superintendent. Then on the next page is, again, I don't know if that's how you do, if that's how New York State makes you write that out. It's sort of confusing. But why do we have to pay the SPCA $12,000?
well, again, because
Is that a requirement from,
it's a requirement that we have,
Tompkins?
it's a requirement that we have dog control. And,
well, we do pay for a person for dog control, so why do we have to pay the SPCA?
they are the dog control.
Yeah.
It's a contract with them to provide the dog control. And it's not cheap, but it's the only show in town.
Yeah, but this is true.
Once upon a time,
Some towns do have,
And
person
another question was, do you contract out for snow removal for the town hall and lawn mowing?
yes.
lawn mowing.
Okay,
Yeah.
why? We have the highway department over here.
Well, highway plows the parking lot. We have a person who comes over and shovels the walks.
The highway department can't do that. You have to contract that out.
Well, it's not their department.
Usually if they have to shovel the sidewalks, the roads need to be cleared, but
Yeah,
you're
the
right,
crews-
those are all things that can be considered.
I mean,
I
if you're looking to cut down a little bit of the
Yeah.
budget, I would
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
they can, they're not that far away. They go past it a lot. They can see if there's any snow in the
Yes,
the
but
driveway.
as Leslie said, I mean, we need to have the building open during, business hours and
So it
they're,
needs to be somebody who can,
the crew's all out on the roads plowing,
I understand
Yeah.
that, but, okay, whatever. I used to work at a shop and sometimes I used to have to
Oh,
shovel in
okay.
front of the
Yeah.
door myself. I mean,
Yes,
it's-
and we have had people in the town hall shovel the walk in the past.
yeah,
I just, if you're gonna cut down, Danby Pond, which is part of the park system,
Well, no,
don't
it's
they
not.
give you money?
It's not part of the park system. We rent it from the park.
they have the swimming.
You rent that? I would tell them I don't want to rent it anymore and make the New York State Parks take it over.
But they wouldn't be providing the swimming program if we weren't for the fact that we're essentially, they're letting us use it for that.
So you rent the Danby Pond.
I don't know if we pay much for it, but we have an agreement with them that allows us to do
It's
it.
an agreement, it's not,
Yeah,
I mean, we end up having to pay for lifeguards, for the
Right.
telephone.
yeah, it costs us to run the program. I don't think we're paying the whole parks a whole lot of money
Right.
to.
I mean, there's just
Yeah.
little things
Yeah, yeah.
that you can
Little
do.
things that up.
But going back to the tax cap, let's say that you raise it to 7.5%.
But we don't raise
And-
the tax cap, we just raise the taxes. So in
Yeah,
other words, if we,
if you
if we
raise it-
exceed the tax cap,
Yes, if you raise it that much in 2023 and you don't use it, so you have a reserve, so you won't be coming back 2024 and saying, oh, we need more money, right?
we'll probably will come back in 24 because we'll probably need more money. But what happens is if we don't spend all the money, and we never do, there's always some money left over at the end of the year.
Yes.
And we sometimes we juggle lines because you end up overspending in one and underspending in another. You have to transfer it to compensate. But at the end of the year, there's always a little bit left over, and that goes to what's called a fund balance. It's like a savings
reserve.
account. Yeah. And then when we put the budget together, we have to decide whether we're going to use part of that towards funding the next budget, or whether we're going to keep it as a reserve.
A slush fund.
Well, it's not a slush fund. It's our savings in case we have expenses that exceed.
In case the roof gets a hole in it.
Or, suppose we had a hurricane, not a hurricane, suppose we had a tornado came through and ripped the roof off the town hall. All of a sudden,
So
we have
if
to
you
spend
have a
$70,000. You're gonna have to have the money.
If you have a reserve,
Yeah.
why, and since everything is going up and CDs are going up, you could do one for 6 months and make a little money.
Actually talk about
Yeah, right. Well, we could talk about that.
Yeah, we've talked about doing that.
We haven't,
Uh-huh.
well, that's part of the budget review.
Oh,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That-
I mean,
that's-
the other thing, I mean, I'm looking at this cheat sheet that Laura, I don't know if these sheets are online.
I don't think, I'm not sure they can hear you on screen
The
because it
20
wasn't,
the 2022 tax rate for general fund was 2.8. And the proposed in this tentative budget, which will probably change a little bit, it's 2.6. And it goes, you know, it does go up, it averages out, but the water district last year was 9 point.
but we're not paying for that.
We're not
People in Danby are
Right.
paying, West
Well,
Danby are paying for
West
that.
Danby is part
So
of Danby, so the West Danby folks are paying that.
they're paying for it, but we're not.
Right,
Well,
right.
I'm one of them, so I'm paying it.
Well, that's too bad.
It's not all of West Danby, it's on the water
Right,
side.
it's only 150, 160.
120 or so connections to
Mhm.
the water.
Yeah, they pay for it.
Well, I see you're also thinking about
I should mention that the privilege of the floor is supposed to be 3 minutes to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Raise questions.
the auction.
Yeah.
I see you're gonna have
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
an
right.
auction and maybe you'll have some more revenue.
That's the
The
idea.
highway.
Highway, they're trying to, well, they just bought a new backhoe, they're trying to pay for it without having to raise taxes to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, then our public hearing is in November, you said.
Probably
Okay.
November 1st.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
I would like to say, I'm glad that you came and brought the questions. It's important to come to meetings
Yeah.
whenever you can throughout the year, because that's where I've learned a lot by just sitting in the audience over the years and
Yeah.
hearing why and how things happen. So I'm glad you came, and I hope you come more often. Thank you.
Anybody else? Oh, yes. Ted, your hand's still up. Is that because you had more to say or? Of course, I can't hear what you're saying, but,
Would you like me to unmute?
well, yeah. it's good.
well, you already got it 3 minutes.
Yes, it's a lot easier to hear what I have to say if you unmute me. I just,
Wasn't asking you, I was asking Joel. but-
yeah, I don't want to take up much of your time, but the last conversation was interesting to me because, as always seems to happen, there's always a confusion between a lot of the technical terms. For example, the tax rate can go down, and that sounds good, but the tax levy can go up, and that's the real killer. So, you know, if in talking to the public, you should be very careful to qualify whether you're talking about the tax rate, which involves, is multiplied by the assessed values. I don't want to go into the weeds. It doesn't matter if the tax rate goes down. It matters if the tax levy goes up or down and how that is distributed among the.
And how much? Yes.
taxpayers.
So I think I was being
Yeah.
clear on that.
No, it
point.
wasn't you who said it. Anyway, no problem. I've just put my 2 cents in. Thank you.
Right. I think we've exhausted the possibilities for privilege of the floor. Right?
No, we haven't.
Well, you want to say
I want to
something?
be a citizen right now
Okay.
and have my little time to say.
Can everybody hear Catherine okay?
Can you hear me on the Zoom, people?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Good.
I just want to say, and it's a little frustrating because I get feedback. So if I haltingly speak, that's because I'm hearing myself differently. So anyway, what I want to say is sort of what I said to
Cindy?
Judy,
Judy.
that I'm glad that when people come to meetings and they learn things about what's going on in the town and how it is to run a town. I can tell you that it isn't fun to come to do this, and it's because there's a lot of very difficult issues that are discussed. There are many people in the town who have very strong opinions, and many of them come and they express them to the town at town board meetings, and it isn't always very pleasant or very nice. So we do the best that we can, and my wish for the town of Danby and for the people and for people who come, thank you very much for coming, is that we learn to be aware of the strife that's going on. I'm going to say this big picture thing in the world, in the country, in our neighborhoods, where people have a tendency to get angry and take out their frustrations on each other and in a community. And it's not good for us. It's very bad for me. I'm taking a deep breath because I am not going to get any more emotional than that. But it really matters that we learn to try and be aware of our neighbors and the people on the other side of the county and the people on the other side of the country and the people in different parts of the world, and recognize that this climate, the food, the strife going on everywhere. And it does affect us. Anytime anybody says that they're not bothered, that they're living a nice, easy life, they're just not awake. So trying to be kind to each other and work together is a goal that I really hope for us. That's my citizen statement.
Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. Okay, there's no correspondence, is there, Janice?
No.
Okay, or announcements. We have, actually, Dan Klein sent us an email. I think that's the closest thing we're going to have to a report from him. And is Keith here? No. And we seem to have lost Laura too.
If I might,
I hope to get her
say
back
something.
by and by.
on behalf of the highway, I have a neighbor who called me and said, when are they going to finish this work on the road? And the work was the chip seal, because people just didn't simply understand that once the chip seal is put down, there is dust for a while. But the point of a lot of the work that the highway does is to try and preserve what we have and make it so that the roads are more easily maintained during the rough season coming ahead, like winter. And this is happening all over the county. And looking at the amount of paving that's been going on, I'm thinking that we're benefiting quite a bit from maybe this, this is where I don't really know to say the right thing, but from the federal government and the states, because there's no way all of our towns are paying for all of this. And I'm eternally grateful that we're doing what we can to maintain what we have. And Keith isn't here to say the answer, but I think that would be the answer about the chip seal.
Okay. And I do know the story on the, in fact, I've already shared it on why he wants to add the auction items.
Yeah.
So when we get to it. Onto the consent agenda. Is it in order now, or do we still have questions?
I couldn't do the highway.
I couldn't do the highway.
That is my fault. I didn't have any of the, I didn't have a chance to get to the vouchers from Laura. So, yeah, that's my fault.
We got the vouchers, we didn't have the bills. The vouchers are all there.
Right, the vouchers were in, but yeah, she had sent me the backup and I just didn't have time to collate them. Sorry.
So that's, we'll wait on that. The only one I felt like that looked good to me 100% was the water. I mean,
Well, that was easy, yeah. With the three
I can move that we approve the water fund abstract 20 for $185.
What about general?
I did have a question about the water, Janice. I sent it in.
Right, it was, yeah.
Was that a problem and corrected?
What was the
Did I-
question?
It was at 37.50 instead of 35.70 or something.
Yeah, two numbers were transposed. That was it.
Okay.
Which was correct?
Okay, what was correct? What I remember seeing was correct was 35.70, and on the abstract, it's 37.50. So
Right.
7 and 5 were transposed that I saw.
You're talking about, you're talking about,
82.
water.
82.
82?
Water
82.
district laws,
it was,
environment.
it should be 30. Let me just double check. Oh, I have 3570. 3570 should be right, I think.
Okay.
Okay, so the total.
That's what I
needs to be-
saw in the abstract had 3750, so it's the.
Okay, yeah, so that was just reversed.
It's
Salary,
3570.
salary.
So what's the total? It's not 185 then, right? Or is it?
Should be $1.80 less.
Yeah.
At 150, 420,
Oh, I could get.
184 rather.
Sorry,
Is that
I
right?
took a dollar down, and then you said it's about $30.
183.20.
183, 20?
Yeah.
3570, yeah.
Okay.
What's the
That's right.
total for the,
Did you have a question or a problem with the general fund?
so what's the total? The total
For which? General?
water,
Water, 183, 20.
183.20. I couldn't understand what you were saying. Okay, so.
So that was good to go, so to speak.
There were other things, there was on the general fund at 304, there was tax included. In the 9653 bill for Cintas, they did it last time too,
Yeah, they did.
just one of them.
I feel like
Uh,
Cintas is just messing with us because, well, anyway, yeah.
Anyway, so 307, it's on the abstract, it says $90.60, and on the voucher, it says $90.68.
Just easily see how an 8
And there's
zero
some account numbers that are different. I don't know whether we need to have another little meeting to do
Well, since we
this.
can't do it by Zoom, it's really annoying.
That's unfortunate, but that's important that we pay bills when we can, but we have to
Right.
check, to make sure they're
And I
accurate.
can't do the highway.
Yeah,
The highway, we have to wait anyway, so.
Yeah, as long as we have to wait anyway, we might as well do them both at that time.
Right,
we could do it to whatever next time we meet. If we'll probably have another budget meeting anyway.
but that,
Yes,
we
We
should
tack
do
it on
it
the
within a
beginning.
week.
Yeah.
I mean, in a couple days, we should do this so that bills can get paid.
Yeah. Well, whenever.
But
we next
I'll
meet.
move the water district
All right, we want to
with
move
the-
now?
with the amended total.
Yeah.
183.
$183.20 for vouchers 81 through 83.
So that was a motion. Is there a second?
That's a motion.
a second.
Okay.
Sorry, I was writing somewhere and I can't find it. Here it is. Sorry,
So we're ready for the vote there, Jan.
we're ready for the vote. Yes, let me do this. And Connor, who seconded? Woodworth.
Yep.
And the vote is Connor's.
Aye,
Hunter, thank you.
Yes,
thank you.
Woodworth,
Yes,
Gagnon.
Or maybe before then.
yeah, but not for us.
Well, the hearing's on probably November 1st, but we'll probably be meeting to talk about the budget for at least one.
Yeah.
Between
Public income?
any meeting. It'll be posted on the
No,
website.
The budget meetings at 5 o'clock.
Or,
usually
well,
they
they might,
have
they
them.
may or may not be, but yeah. We're in the middle of the vote, yeah.
Do you want, Cindy, do you want to note? And then we can email.
Yeah.
Okay.
Say, where were we?
I was on Gagnon.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So that was all, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, our appointment procedure calls for the supervisor to, at the October meetings, review with the board what our open positions are going to be that we need to fill, mostly in January. There's one town board position open by virtue of the vacancy created when Sarah resigned. There are two openings on the planning board, one of which was generated by the resignation of Alana Marani. There's one BZA position.
Who's the other planning board member?
Well, there's one that comes up. Jody Schreiber is, her term
Jody.
comes to an end.
Yeah, Jody, sorry.
Now, we're gonna mention that later, but
Yeah.
who all the incumbents are that are
Right.
going on.
Oh, we don't, I mean, you're
Yeah.
right.
And there's one on the BZA. The Recreation Partnership Board and the Youth Services Board positions are up for renewal this year. There's one opening each year on the West Danby Water District Advisory Committee. The CAC has a lot of openings because the terms are only 2 years. So we have a vacancy there with the death of a chair, Claire Futrell, and we have 4 positions that are available in addition to that. So it's a total of 5 on CAC. And then I'm not sure what the situation is with the Youth Commission because we just created it. Catherine, what are the terms? Are those 2 years, 1 year?
There are 2, but we have
Staggered, right?
one.
They're staggered, right? So they don't all come up the same year.
Correct, and we just started, but the biggest thing is that we'd like to get a person from West Danby. So that's what we're currently hoping for, and then,
They must have, what, 3 people whose terms are ending because they were only on for 1 year?
we didn't even get enabled until February, so I guess if,
No, but the terms generally by law end on the end of the year. So even though, it's not gonna run till February, it's gonna run till December.
that's something that the commission hasn't discussed yet.
Yeah.
And it'll have to be discussed in the next meeting.
Yeah, and we need to know because we'll need to post and solicit
Right.
applications for those positions as well.
Okay, that needs to be asked of the very newly appointed chair and vice chair, so yes.
Right, and as part of the process, those whose terms are expiring on these various boards need to be approached about whether or not they're interested in continuing to serve. Those people are, Earl Hicks is the one whose term is expiring with the BZA, and he's also the chair. Jody Schreiber is the person on the planning board, and she's also the chair. Catherine, Margaret Corbett, Jonathan Zisk, and Don Schaffler took terms on the CAC. I believe it's Marie Monroe, who was recently appointed to the Water District Advisory Board because she was a committee rather. She was appointed to replace somebody, so that I think her term is the one that's up.
Who?
But
Sorry.
Marie Monroe. But that's something I want to confirm with you, who keep
the
better
water
records than I do.
The water-
I was guessing that based on what the other ones were, when their terms are expiring. The only one missing one was 2022, and Marie is on. So I concluded it was probably she
Yeah,
who is going to be up.
Marie.
So those are the ones, and it would be good to include all these openings in the November town news if we can.
They're already in there.
They're in, good. So that people are interested in applying, and we have to tell them what their application deadline is. I don't remember whether the policy specified a date, or whether we should decide when that date is going to be.
It's it'd be in the policy. I don't have it.
Yeah, because the intention was that we could interview in December, because the appointments get made in January,
Right,
except for vacancies, which we could make at any time.
right.
So we don't have to wait till
So we
January
wanna
to fill the.
interview people in December, and make a decision.
Yeah, I was thinking we would do it in October, but now, not gonna happen. So anyway, that's where we are with that. So that's,
Did you decide on a deadline for applications?
no, it should be in November sometime if we're going to interview in
I think the
December.
first meeting in December would be when we should say
Yeah,
deadline.
That's
Well,
too
So that
soon
would
for
give us at
deadline.
least one meeting.
so
that we can
there's
interview.
two we could lump them all together because it's kind of got to that point, but if we wanted, we could deal with the vacancies, we could deal with the vacancies sooner
Yeah,
rather than have them all treated, you know, at the same
Right.
time.
right.
So we're
Then you
talking
have to
two-
decide
two
which is
different-
vacancies
two
and which are
different
not.
deadlines.
It would be easier not to. It would be very confusing for people to apply for when they don't, which they don't know.
Well, I'm not sure I agree.
I don't even understand what we're asking.
No, I mean, I also, yeah,
Well, the question, I think the question is, should we deal with the vacancies as far as interviews and so forth, and then deadline for application the same way and at the same time
no.
as for the people who are interviewing for January appointment?
The difference is what date we put on for the applications to be submitted. It would be
Right.
very confusing to have two dates on there. It would be easier to have one date, which means if you want to do it different times, you want a date in November.
You know, I think that we are talking about asking people to, if they're interested and want to apply for boards.
Yeah.
If we are not specifically asking somebody to apply for a specific person's vacancy, I
Right.
don't think.
They
No.
may not, and the person may actually apply for their vacancy. A lot of these, the people may apply for their positions to continue.
Right,
So, I mean,
Yes.
exactly.
you know, given.
And that question.
But it's two different things. It's terms are up. People, you know, are gonna either reapply or new, you know, other people are gonna apply. There'll be applicants for the positions, hopefully. But these other positions that are already open, the town board member, there's one planning board member and there's a CAC member that isn't in the general, these positions are expiring.
Yeah.
So,
It's a lot of interviews for one night, so I think you
Yeah.
can't do
Yeah.
it all.
no,
Well, that's what I was trying to, I mean, that's what I thought we were trying to arrange last month when we set the deadline to the 17th so that we could deal with it on the 19th, which is today,
huh,
for those vacancies on the town board and the planning board.
okay, well,
But that didn't work out.
It just didn't happen, so let's move
Yeah.
forward.
No, so the
Yeah.
question is, so now it's being suggested, as Pat's suggesting, that we ought to lump them all together and do all of the interviews for all of the positions, whether they're filling a vacancy or they're going to do, or
The
going to
only
fill
one-
an expired
the
term.
only
No, I did not say that. What I
Okay.
am asking
That's
for
what I
is a
heard, but-
deadline when applications have to be filed, and that's what we need, one deadline for that. I would suggest either Friday, November 11th or Monday, November 14th.
Yep, I was thinking the 14th, but you know, in light of the fact that, you know, you get it, and then, you know, we have to get it to people.
I say
Maybe-
first that for people who are, for positions are gonna be filled, I don't know, I'd need to go look at, I don't have a copy of the
Right.
procedure in front of me. I would feel comfortable having applications come in by the first meeting in December, where we can look at them, decide who we're gonna interview, come up with questions, interview them at the second meeting in December, and then the decision gets made the first meeting in January.
Right.
For everything except for
The vacancy.
the only thing that is just a vacancy is a town board member. I mean, I know that the planning board has got a vacancy,
Yeah,
but there's also an expiring term, so,
Same thing for the
You know.
CAC.
well, you're right. I mean, it's a very good point, because both the planning board
and the
and the
CAC,
CAC position, oh, no, it's not true for Claire. Claire was active till 2023.
right,
So that one, whoever gets appointed to
Right.
that one gets to
Right.
serve 1 year.
I think saying, but whatever, what's the first meeting in December?
The first meeting in December is the 6th,
The what,
the 6th,
6th?
yeah, December 6th.
I would say deadline is the 3rd, or 5th, or what day of the week is that?
What?
What day of the week is
December 6th is Tuesday, because.
Tuesday? So
Yeah.
by Monday, I think December 5th, it should be the deadline for the boards.
I don't think that's soon enough for us to be able to read them all. I would rather put it, as long as we're 2 months out.
That's right. So why wait that late?
Well, we may get more,
Why, I mean, people will wait till the last minute, but why should we give them the last minute I mean, we gave them essentially notice a month ago that there were going to be a bunch of open positions.
I'd like to look at the policy.
I would say December 1st would make more sense.
That'd be all right.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good to me.
Isn't that a Sunday though?
December
Oh.
1st is Thursday.
Thursday? Oh, okay. December 1st.
It's a Thursday before the Tuesday meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that would be okay for the, other than the vacancy on, we could, the CAC and the town board should have an earlier reply by.
Yeah, well, hopefully it sounds like there are some applications and hopefully we get it'd be nice to get a few more. I mean, the website has got it.
Well, wait a minute, we're talking, the planning board is the same way, because the vacancy is Alana's position.
Right.
Which doesn't expire this year.
Right,
So we should be filling those vacancies.
right,
Um,
yeah.
And I think there's plenty of time to fill them at the first meeting in December.
Right.
Yeah, giving it, we're gonna miss the opportunity to
We might-
have done it so that they could
we might
attend,
be
they
able
could
to
be
get it
meeting,
sooner.
they could be members in November.
Yeah.
Then we might as well go to the
I mean,
beginning. of
just because
December.
there's a deadline doesn't mean that people won't submit things earlier than the deadline.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we could appoint to the town board at the on the second meeting in November and the 16th, so that the town board person could participate in the first meeting in December. If you appoint them in December, you can't, they're not going to be, they won't be party to the process.
In which case they would be party to it at the second meeting in December.
Yeah, right. What
That would
that's
be
worth.
fine.
One meeting early. Yeah. But wait, is there any reason why we shouldn't be making the appointments of the vacancies on the 16th,
16th of what?
November?
We haven't announced it far enough in advance to make those.
We told them a month ago.
Yeah, and I mean, often, I mean, I usually am the one who does it, and I'll do it again. I will call every single one of the people whose terms are expiring
Yes, right.
and find out if they're going to reapply and tell them they need to put in the application.
Yeah.
And, so hopefully in 2 days we'll know about that.
I can probably help you with that. If you want to split the
It's
list.
not too bad.
No,
I
it's
just
not.
send out
No,
emails.
that's not.
I just send out emails and
Okay.
they usually,
Yeah.
Earl is the only one who doesn't get back to me
Good.
timely.
So are we gravitating to a single reply by or deadline for applications, or are we talking a two-phase project here where we're filling vacancies in one and then doing everybody for the January appointments as a separate one?
Attempting to explain that in writing would be very difficult. It'd be easier to have one deadline where applications are due.
Well, I mean, we could split it into two and say, there are.
But when it comes to
When is
doing the
it coming
appointments, we'll
out?
have
When
to.
is the newsletter coming out?
Well, around the beginning of
week.
November. Yeah, next week.
Next week,
Next
to get it out.
It should be, I was hoping to go to the printer Friday, probably not.
Right, I mean, it'd be good if we could say there's a town board position and a planning board spot and a CAC vacant, those three, there's a vacancy, current vacancy.
Mhm.
Expiring terms are what all the other ones are. It would be good if we could separate that out. I think you're right.
But if we, but could we have a common deadline, or do we want to, because ultimately we have to decide, you know, who we're going to appoint to the unexpired term, which ones are going to be for the new ones, but, and if we had the one deadline, of course, then we'd have to interview everybody in order to make the one set of decisions.
Right, I mean, we could put the other deadline, the second meeting in November for the position, the vacant positions, and the December 3rd or whatever for expiring terms, January 1st expiring terms. That makes sense to me.
That may not
And we
make
may
sense to
get
somebody
none,
reading
we
it
may
and
get
trying
none.
to, we want to encourage people to apply and make it easier for them to apply. This
Yeah.
doesn't make it easy.
Yeah,
One deadline in November would make it easy to apply and understand.
I don't want, yeah.
It might make it easy
I
to
want more-
apply. It doesn't make it any easier to deal with, though.
Makes it easier for other people to understand.
Right, but suppose we had one
And we
deadline.
want people to apply. Don't we want people to apply?
Well, and anybody who isn't appointed to the first round, so to speak, would be appointment in January. But unless we distinguish, then we're pretty much stuck with having to interview everybody in order to make the first appointment. In other words, it's not the case for town board, but for CAC and for planning board, if we had 3 different people applying for a position, we have to interview them all in order to make the one appointment.
Which would make sense, so we would get the best position people for both kind of positions, short-term and long-term. Don't we want to do that too?
Yeah, how about,
Yes, but how are we
about
going
if
to
I
handle
try,
interviews?
how about if I try and write something up tonight and run it by Pat?
Yeah, I'd like to see that, because he's been doing it, you have the list of it.
You like what?
If you have, let's do it. I think that's Pat Kieran trying to talk to us.
Who, Pat Curran?
Pat, it says call from Patricia Kieran, and she's got her hand up.
Well, Pat is here because for the West Danby Community
For the West
Association,
Danby.
which we're going to get to in
She's probably
eventually.
7 o'clock. We only
I
have
know.
an hour. But I don't, I mean, I feel comfortable saying, you know, trying to get the positions filled towards the end of November and the expiring terms usual in December.
But how do we handle the interviews?
Huh?
We're going to have to interview everybody in order to do the filling the positions in November part of it. Particularly,
Well, how many people are gonna apply for town board?
I don't know. I mean,
So far, I think we have 2.
I thought 1, but maybe we have 2. We might have one
And if
more.
there's some more, you know,
Yeah, but what about the CAC?
you know, I mean, the other reality is, and I'm not saying this is true because of anybody who's applied, because I don't know them, but we could have 5 applicants and not pick any of them.
Yeah, could happen.
So,
It's unlikely,
so it's a fluid thing, but it would be nice to get those positions filled through, you know, before December or as soon as possible. But these other are a routine thing we go through every single year when terms expire.
Right.
Often, you know, and often people who've have those positions apply again.
Right.
So then a lot of residents say, well, then I'm not going to apply.
Right. There's
You know?
there's that.
So it's complicated, but I think the expiring terms, we need to have applications and interviews by before mid-December. But the other,
The other requires that we have solicitation of interest and a
Yeah.
deadline that's not the same.
Yeah.
It
so the
requires,
deadline is November, what was it listed as, November 15th, 17th?
yeah. So I mean, if we did October 14th, which was mentioned earlier,
Oh, I thought-
as a deadline for applications to fill the vacancies,
Oh, October 17th,
October 14th.
October
No,
14th.
but we're past.
Oh, sorry.
Why do we keep talking
I'm
about
looking at the wrong month, sorry.
I don't know.
November 14th is the Monday. But either that or the 11th. We're talking about both of those dates. Either Friday the 11th, this is the Friday before the second board meeting on the 15th. Wait a minute, second board meeting's on the 16th. So the 16th will be the Monday. Board meeting's on Wednesday, the 16th. That's what we did this time, we thought. And we would pick the 17th because the meeting is on the 19th, but it doesn't give you a whole lot of time to look at the applications. Although it would if people didn't wait till the last minute to submit them. And if the clerk could share them when she gets them and not wait till the last minute to share them.
So were we saying December 3rd for the
So
expiring terms?
we're saying that for the vacancies, we have a deadline of the 14th of November,
Okay,
right?
Yep.
We're talking about two deadlines, and I realize it's complicated, but it's complicated no matter what we do.
it's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, what's confusing about it is the timing of the resignations or the
Yeah.
vacancies. If this
Yeah.
happened in May, it would be no problem.
Yeah.
It just happens to coincide with our
Right.
normal process in the
Right.
fall here where we solicit interest. And that deadline could be as late as, you suggested, what, the first?
Yeah,
And then the first meeting in December. or something
Okay, the
like
first meeting is the 6th, but
Yeah,
we
so
want to have,
somebody
but we want to
suggested-
have them ahead
that.
of
Somebody
time.
suggested, I think Pat suggested the 3rd.
Well, the 3rd is, or the 2nd. Second is Friday. Before the meeting on the following Tuesday.
The 2nd is Friday?
2nd is the Friday, right?
Okay,
So,
okay, December 2nd for expiring terms, November 14th for vacancies.
yeah,
Okay,
so let's make that formal.
and I'm gonna review the policy.
I move that we set November 11th as a deadline for,
I think you just said the 14th,
14th.
you sure you don't want Friday before?
just about a minute ago.
Okay, well, 14th. November 14th for submission of applications for filling the vacancies on CAC, Planning Board, and Town Board.
Huh?
With,
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to stop.
yeah,
Keep going.
and December 2nd
Right.
for filling the vacancies that will occur at the end of the year with the expiration of people's terms.
December,
2nd. Okey-doke.
yeah, I second that.
Leslie seconded.
No, Catherine did.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay. Are you
Okay,
ready for me to do the vote?
for the vote?
Okay. Connors,
Aye.
Hunter,
Yes,
Woodworth. Woodworth, you're muted. Do I have you on, I saw you say, I read your lips. I think I might not have you, hang on one second. Hang on. Okay. Okay. I got a yes from you. Thank you. Okay, Gagnon.
Yes. Okay, that was painfully slow, wasn't it?
Jeez.
Where are we? Highway resolution. Was posted this afternoon. Keith has a bunch more equipment he's looking to get rid of. If he were here, I'd ask him a couple questions. He's not.
And he's asking for permission to send it to auction.
Right. And Laura drafted a resolution to that effect. And I'll move it.
I'll second it.
and I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Let's vote.
Yeah.
Okay, you're all ready for the vote?
Connors,
Yes.
Hunter,
Yes,
Woodworth,
Yes,
Gagnon.
Yes. He actually dealt with 2.5.
Yep.
So that's good. Tax cap override law. I move we pass it.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, Janice.
Yes, once again, Gagnon and Hunter, Connors,
Aye.
Hunter,
Aye.
Woodworth.
Yes.
Thank you, Catherine, for that eye. Gagnon,
Yes. The reaffirmation of the sexual harassment policy. I noticed there's a bunch of fill in the blanks that didn't get filled in yet.
I know.
Did we ever pass this?
Wait a minute, where are we now?
The sexual harassment policy.
I couldn't find,
A resolution to go with it.
right.
So this may be the first,
I don't think so, but,
but anyway,
but the record is gone,
yeah.
so,
So we'll make it part of the record by
well, we can just. pass
adopting it
We
now.
can adopt it now.
Yeah.
And all we need to do is clean up a couple, there's a couple.
There are a couple of things. So I kind of wonder whether it's worth, maybe we should clean up and then pass it.
Pardon?
'Cause I was wondering whether we should maybe clean them up and then pass
I
it.
mean, like the form should be cleaned
Yeah, there's a
up.
couple of places where, it isn't, the form's not filled in.
Right.
You willing to work on that?
Sure.
Get it cleaned up?
Yeah.
So why don't we table that till next
Okay.
time? Okay, brings us to the tentative budget review. We have, is Amanda still with us?
yes.
Yes, she is. Amanda, you're up.
Thank you. I prepared a few slides. I don't know if I'm able to share my screen though.
I can grant you, oops, hang on.
You can
one
make
sec.
it so you can.
Okay, cool.
There you go.
Okay, great. And here, hold. Sorry, I'm good. Are you seeing my slides now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm here representing the Dotson Community Park Association. And I thought I would just remind folks sort of what we do, which is to cultivate the Dotson Park as a diverse natural space for the community and come together to enjoy low impact recreational activities. I thought I would introduce myself. No one probably knows me. I've been living in Danby since 2018 with my husband and my toddler. I joined the board in 2019, and when I'm not volunteering, I'm the Associate Director for Philanthropy and Communication at PRI. So that's the organization that manages the Museum of the Earth and the Cayuga Nature Center. And I have a background in geology and nonprofit management. So this is sort of like the perfect combination of everything. So I just thought I would let everyone know who I am. I know a lot of you know each other. So again, for those who might not remember or might not know, the park is a nonprofit organization. It was incorporated in 2001. We're an all volunteer board of directors. There's 4 of us currently. As I said already, we own that parcel of woods, meadow, and wetland that's right across from town hall. The membership for the DCPA is technically everybody in Danby who's over 18. So everyone has voting rights. There's a conservation easement in place on the property. And if for those who might not have been to the property lately, there's a disc golf course. There's hiking that the youth programs use it. And in the winter, there's sledding and cross country skiing, which I've done myself. I thought I'd just tell everybody what we did this past year that I thought was worth noting. We had picnic tables donated from Home Depot and Agway. So it really helped making the space more usable for picnics and for the Friday park markets and some of the other events that have finally come back after COVID. The disc golf was finally completed, and so all the holes were officially established. The rural youth program continued to work on the dragon and installing some kind of musical instruments for the kids to play with. We continued to change that story walk, that's the books, that's in partnership with the Family Reading Partnership along the trail. we had our farmer's market, like I said, and the youth programs have started to use the property again. So I believe I sent this out to the board earlier. This is just our proposed budget for 2023. That's a little bit of an increase from the past year. $1,300 to be exact, includes increased fuel costs, maintenance. So we rent a tractor to maintain the grounds there, and we are responsible for some of the maintenance of that tractor, repairs mostly. There's insurance, and then there's a line item here just for general repairs of things on the property, amenities such as the Porta John, which we now have, that makes the park a little bit more accessible and a little bit more, I guess, inviting for families who want to spend a longer amount of time there. And it also helped with the Friday markets and the other community events. And then the other element that's part of this is just upkeep of the grounds. I threw this picture in here. A lot of the trails, unfortunately, are in wetland because a lot of the property is wetland. So having some boardwalk or a piece of wood to walk over is important. And of course, harsh winters and water causes those to rot out. So there's a bit of trail maintenance that is part of what we, so like I said, I know that today was really just proposing the budget, but I thought I would go a little bit over what the park's doing and our proposal for the budget. So like I said, I sent out the spreadsheet to the board earlier, but this is really just what we're asking for this year. And so then I thought I would just open it up to conversation or questions if anyone had any.
I have a little comment for you. At our last commission meeting, our Heidi, our youth provider, came and she told us that there was something going on in the county, and I'm sorry that I can't tell you more broadly, but I think it was done by the Cornell Cooperative and maybe the Youth Commission for the county. But anyway, they did something called photo video. I think that's right. Anyway, this happened across the county. It was very sweet. They asked the kids, what would you like? And they took pictures of different places in the county of things that are in the park. And they did mention specifically the picnic tables, and I was happy to be able to tell them that they were donated because I knew that from you all. But anyway,
Yeah, that's
that
awesome.
was very cool. That video photo journal thing, and they want to do that. We would like it to get presented and put on a YouTube channel so that people get a chance, and that would be good for the youth commission kiddos and also for the park, because there would be photos of the park.
Yeah, that sounds great. I hope I can track that down. That'd be great to see. Any other questions or?
Well, I have to ask you that it was last year it came to light that the not-for-profit law was changed in 2016, 2017, something like that. And both the Danby Community Park Association and Danby Community Council were out of compliance with the requirements for when holding membership meetings for the same reason, which is that they define their membership as being the population of the town, and there's no way you can get a quorum with problem. And so the charge on our part was, how do you get yourself right with the IRS given that situation? And I wonder what progress has been made in addressing that concern.
Yeah, so this past summer at our annual meeting, we adopted a resolution, which is a very, I don't want to call it vague, but it's a very open-ended resolution, just acknowledging the problem. I'd read it. It's a couple paragraphs, but I'll read the last couple paragraphs, I think, that are a little bit more about action items. As you said, it's in regard to the quorum being very vaguely defined in the bylaws. The law redefined what a quorum meant if it wasn't clearly defined as half the membership, which of course is half the town. And so we are actively working on trying to figure out the best course of action forward. And so here's the last 3 paragraphs of the adopted resolution, which states, it's hereby resolved that the current board of directors who are completing or completing their terms this year take action to appoint board members as permitted in the bylaws of the DCPA in order to maintain stability and continuity of the organization, and in order to prevent a disruption of the organization, which could potentially create a situation detrimental in the town of Danby. Additionally, it's hereby acknowledged that the current board of directors, consisting of members elected in good faith under the DCPA bylaws adopted in June 2010, are taking this action in good faith and in accordance with the current bylaws at a special meeting of the board of directors as allowed in the bylaws. It is additionally acknowledged the current board of directors is actively working to resolve the conflict with state law regarding quorums and will continue to do so in order to comply with state law while maintaining integrity and fulfilling mission of the DCPA. So basically what we're doing is we're reaching out to some lawyers, to nonprofit lawyers who can specialize in this and help us sort of illustrate a course of action moving forward. From our understanding, it would be difficult to change the laws. And so our course of action might be to sort of redo the organization. But again, we're going to rely heavily on the opinion of outside lawyers. So we are reaching out to them now to figure out our course of action moving forward. But we felt it was in the best interest of the park to not stop operations and to continue to operate under good faith. So that is the plan as of right now.
I'm a little concerned that there's no time frame or
It's a matter of what the lawyers. So I've reached out to a nonprofit, someone who specializes it, and the time frame will be what our potential options are. If it's something that we can do with the tools that we have, is it something that involves money and thus some fundraising and additional funds, or is it something that it's going to involve time and paperwork? So I think once I can finally sit down and have a conversation with this lawyer to articulate and, like I said, illustrate what the best course of action is, that'll give me a timeline, because it'll all come down to what our options are and what's involved in those options.
Mm-hmm. Your bylaws, I mean, I haven't seen your bylaws because they're not posted on the website. Does it have the same provision that the change in the bylaws requires a membership vote? Which is what?
Yes, I do believe so.
Yeah,
It's not a membership vote. It's a board vote.
It's a board vote. Well,
It's a board vote.
Well, if it's a
However,
board vote, then the board could change the bylaws to address the quorum issue.
yes. However, if you want to, for the sake of transparency, theoretically, everyone who's on the board right now was voted in good conscience under the understanding that the bylaws were kosher, but
if it wasn't at
that's
an
sort of
meeting,
it was at an annual meeting, but the understanding is that board members need to get elected by the membership.
Yeah.
And so we haven't been able to have a quorum of the membership. So even though we're functioning as board members, by a technicality, we're all just volunteers and we're not board members. Does that make sense?
Is it fair to ask you to give us updates periodically if you have a reasonable conversation with a lawyer? Could you just tell us something, send an email to the town board and say, we met with a lawyer, this was a no-go, we went with a lawyer and this one had just something so that we have something in the loop.
Yeah, I can give you an updated resolution once we know more. I can send out, for your knowledge right now, our current resolution, and as that continues to evolve, I can continue to send that up.
Because you're kind of hamstrung. I mean, it'd be nice to be able to solicit more board members and, get the whole thing.
Absolutely. I mean, there is a lot of potential, and I think there's a lot of growth potential. That it is really contingent on having a strong board and strong board members. And so it's really imperative that we be able to change this, that we can continue to grow as an organization and grow our board and grow our interest level and really create awareness among membership. Because that's another thing that I'm not sure every person in Danby realizes, that they are a member you know, that they have a voting member right, because it's different with every kind of organization, what is defined as membership. So it is definitely priority for me and the board.
Great.
But you're gonna have to change the membership somehow, because, you know, there's no way you're ever gonna have a quorum at a meeting. And
Absolutely. And that's part of the conversation with the lawyers to determine, like I said, course of action. How do you, redefine the, but not only get us out of the current situation, but then rectify the bylaws to
Right.
reflect that.
I don't want to spend too much time on this, but the one suggestion was made last year. I think some organizations have dealt with this by saying that, you know, all the residents of the town are eligible to be members. But
Yes.
to actually be a member, you have to submit a form annually saying, I want to be a member or something like that. So then you have a quorum, just those people that needs to be present for the meeting.
Yep.
But you have to
Again,
get a
like I
lawyer.
said,
You have to get a lawyer.
I need an expert opinion. While I said I have a background in nonprofits and I do this regularly in my day job, the legalese is not what I do. So
Yeah.
looking
Well,
for an
legalese,
expert to
exactly.
tell me the right way to move forward so that we don't make any mistakes, especially I'm sure there's going to be money and costs to amending things and making things.
Right, and that's something which, you know, maybe we could help with, but we need to know what your options are.
Right.
Because,
So
you know,
yes, as soon as I have new options, I will definitely be able to present them and we can work together on how to rectify it and move forward.
That sounds
because
great.
the park is important to us.
Yes.
So with respect to the budget that's been submitted, I'd like to know how you feel okay putting that money into the budget instead. What's in there now is just what was in last year, 61.
Yeah, so it's just a very small increase, basically accounting for the increase of the way things increased over the year, cost of fuel, cost of maintenance. The budget I proposed does not include what might be required to make these changes.
Right. You're okay.
But
Yeah.
I will do my best to get a number, and if I can get that quicker, I will get that to you. But if not, it will.
I mean, I think
We can.
But, you know, I'm just a little worried. I mean, we, you know, for good reason, put this money in the budget for the park. But it was also, you know, we had to get an agreement, you know, in exchange for services.
Right, which
I mean,
there will
how
be.
much of that is tied into their structure? I mean, are we okay?
Well, the
giving
word
money
from
to a-
right, the word from Guy was that we are okay.
Okay, all right.
In other words, as long as we regard them as a reliable body to execute the agreement as that we agree to, just say they do what they say they're going to do, and they're okay with the way the money is, you know, we pay, because if they front the money, we reimburse them, you know, according to the agreement. We're okay with that. It's important that they get themselves in compliance with the law and with their own and with the bylaws. But it's not a barrier to our having a contract with them to provide services in the meantime.
Yes,
We don't.
because that would be.
I mean, thinking timeline, I mean.
Well, that's why I asked, you know, how
2 years?
can we, because, you know, a year ago when we asked, we were told it might take a year.
Right.
And it's a year later, and not a whole lot of progress has been made on the issue. So that's why I think it's perfectly appropriate to have the kind of regular communication that Catherine suggested, to say, you know, so we're updated that you're working on it, and there's a, you know, being diligent about pursuing the options and
So we need
moving on it.
We just need to have regular updates to feel comfortable with. Okay,
Yeah, right.
cool.
That would satisfy me.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't.
Okay, good. Thanks, Amanda.
You're welcome.
Yep. I'm going to jump ahead. Is Pat still here? Yes. Let's do the West Danby Community Association because Pat's here.
Okay.
Pat, could you let Pat unmute? Yes.
Yes, I just unmuted. Okay, I did not prepare a slide presentation, and I'll be very quick, but the West Danby Community Association is hoping to resume our normal scheduled activities next year if COVID permits. So the last 2 years, we've been limited to just having a picnic late August, courtesy of the guy who owns the land on
Mike
Short
McLaughlin,
Road.
right?
What did you say, Joel?
Mike McLaughlin.
Yeah, Mike McLaughlin, who's a Newfield resident, so he's not too far away. But our normal scheduled activities would include a dinner and election in January. Now, I don't know if that'll be possible because of COVID, but normally that's followed by an Easter egg hunt. I checked Easter. Easter is like April 7th or 8th. So the weather should permit that to go ahead. That's an outdoor event. And then sometimes we hold a yard sale event in June. And then we would like to hold a concert possibly in July. And then the picnic again in late August. And then possibly a caroling event in December. And then also we'll probably be holding some garden tours at my house during the growing season, perhaps late May, June, July, August. And so our expenses are pretty minimal. So we're asking for $350, most of which would go to support refreshments at these different activities. But if we have a concert at Wayne Myers, we might need to rent a porta potty. So I think that's about it.
Here's a question. If the community association were to do a concert, the money for doing the hiring the band was part of the
the DCC, right?
DCC
Yeah,
budget.
that's true.
The grants that they got through the the rural
Arts,
decentralization grant, right? For from Community Arts Partnership. I don't know whether that money would be available next year or not.
So you're right. We might need about 350 plus 250 for the music, if COVID permits. The thing about the concert was, we were able to use Wayne Myers' beautiful place. Hopefully that would still be a possibility, but our backup for bad weather was Town Hall. And although I see that some of you are wearing masks, there aren't a whole lot of you there. So, we really cannot predict what the rules will be next July about how many people in the town hall and all that stuff, because I hear there's a couple more variants coming, although theoretically this new booster will help prevent serious illness from these new variants. But, I'm not an epidemiologist any more than any of the rest of you are. So I'm just hoping that life will return a little bit to normal next year. And I guess the other possibility, I was really glad to hear this the Danby Park presentation. It looks like she might, there's Amanda. She's still here. As a West Danby person, and I must say I was shocked earlier in this meeting by the person who didn't even seem to understand that West Danby was part of Danby, but I guess there's a bunch of people like that. Anyway, I've never been to that park, but hearing that presentation reminded me that that's a possible location for a West Danby event as well. Sooner or later, Mike McLaughlin might actually succeed in selling his land, which has a history way back. Joel knows when. It precedes my residence here, but it used to be a neighborhood ballpark many years ago, like 45 years ago or so.
It was a town
operation ballpark.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we need to think about other possible locations because sooner or later he'll probably sell that. He's been very nice about letting us use it. There's a porta potty there. There's a shed that has all kinds of facilities for holding a picnic, except for running water, but everything else. So I need to learn more about the park up there in Danby. So that was good to hear that. Are there any other questions? Oh, I should mention the reason my hand was up earlier. I wasn't allowed to talk, but I mean, I don't understand why we didn't get a report from Dan Klein. Joel said something about an email and then nothing happened.
Right. He didn't submit it as a formal report, but we could share it.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Yeah. I think what
Well, perhaps you could summarize it.
what he shared, Pat, was what he's going to put in the town news. So it will appear there.
Okay, I'll read it there then. Then we can save some time.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
So it sounds like what you're asking for is actually $600.
That sounds realistic. If the pandemic permits us having a concert, then we would need some money to hire some musicians.
I could share that I asked about the insurance situation because the Danby Community Council has been providing the umbrella insurance for WDC events. And Pat inquired and was told that they could continue to do that. So that's good. Yeah.
Right.
So then the amounts that are just now shared should work.
Good.
Okay, thanks, Pat.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else have any questions for Pat?
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Dan Clements, I contacted for the Danby seniors. And he said, we'd be happy if you just put the same $5,000 in that they've been, we have put in the budget in the past. They use it for help pay for the buses and for and meals.
Maybe we can all join.
Yes, right. Well, we're all eligible to be part of that group if we want to be. Jennings Pond program. Is there a question from Pat?
Joel, it was me, Laura.
There you are.
I'm back. I'm so sorry. I was traveling in Massachusetts and went out of service, so I missed this part of the budget. Janice, you're taking good notes of this because I'm the financial person and I want to make sure I capture everything that everybody's asked for.
Yes. I've got
Oh,
you.
thank you so much. I'll definitely get with you and we'll get it down and changed on the budget. Thank you guys. Thanks for your patience.
Okay, so we're in the middle of the organizational budget request review. That's in the business part of the agenda here.
What about the Jennings Pond?
Right, right, Jennings Pond. What did you put in the budget, Laura? Was it the same as the previous year?
Yes, I put the same as the previous year in the budget for Jennings Pond.
The big question mark in that one is who's going to do it?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm pretty sure I put the same. I don't think I put in an increase in lifeguard. And, I think I just left it the same.
We have to resolve that. We've got the money in the budget though to conduct the program if we can find somebody to run it.
Should put something in the newsletter.
Looking for people, yeah.
And that's something where we can post it. We can go up and post it and see if anybody from Danby or anywhere, happens to see the posting. Even put it in the Danby area news that we're looking for a director. Somebody may come forward and say, yeah, I think that's for me,
You mean actually?
But we can post it through
a
civil
poster
service.
at the pond itself, right?
Yeah, but when I say post it, I mean through civil service. So
Good.
when those jobs come up every year,
Great.
I go up to the county and we put it up on the county website. We put it up under Danby for open positions.
Great.
And give an explanation. There's an explanation for the position, and see if we get some. And we'll start early. I mean, we could start in the middle of the winter actually, and put
Right,
it
we
up
don't
there
need to wait
just
until
get-
March or something.
Right,
Does
right, we
that,
could get it right up there.
right, the civil service
put it
positions
in
are the
Danby
lifeguards
Music
though,
Center.
are they not?
The lifeguards, we do the same thing, we put that up there. We've been fortunate in the last few years because Daisy is a Danby resident and she comes home from college from overseas and she's home and she's been the lifeguard for the last couple of years there. So that we've known we've had someone, but we can put that up for that, for the lifeguard too.
Yeah,
And-
wait. So what were you, when we were talking about civil service, you're talking about the pond coordinator position?
Exactly, the pond coordinator position too, because the
I didn't
pond
realize that was a
coordinator
civil service
position,
position, but,
it is because it's on our salary roster and it is a civil service position. Yeah,
But not
okay.
the
I turned in
lifeguard.
Yep. So are the lifeguards. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, I knew the lifeguards
We
were, but
posted
I
this-
coordinator, I
and
thought
even
coordinator was,
even the assistant Jeremiah, they're all civil service positions, and
okay,
they all go on our our employee list, certification list with them. So, we can post them, like I say, early, give a lot of time to see if there's interest.
okay.
Just
good.
my two cents on that.
is it possible to check with those people to see if they
Oh, yeah,
still be interested? I mean,
definitely,
we should make a point of asking them. Yeah.
yeah.
But with
Again,
Amy gone,
to help with that, that would
we
be
need
great
that
too.
person. Absolutely, yeah.
Or check with Mary Ann. Because you
Yeah,
work
we'll
closely,
check with Mary Ann.
work closely
And
with,
I bet Jeremiah,
Jeremiah
he's
as
the
well, right.
assistant down there. He probably will want to stay on and do that, I would think. He does a great job. And I'm sure that he probably wants to, but it's that coordinator that it might be a little hard to find someone, but post it in, midwinter, get people thinking about it. Somebody might come forward and say that's what they'd like. And I'll check with Mary Ann too.
Mm-hmm. With respect to the food pantry, Laura, I don't remember there having been any submissions from them this year. Is that correct?
There may have been one. I think, Janice, that you put one on one of the abstracts. So I think the food pantry's gotten something at this point. If not, I can't remember, and I'm not looking back through 20 abstracts at this point. I don't have access to that right here at this point. But if not, they'll put the whole thing through at the end. But I thought that there was something that went through that, Janice, that you did put through that we paid food pantry for part of their amount.
I hope we didn't, because we still don't have a contract with them. No, I mean, I proposed a contract, and the word was we need to huddle basically, and revisit the whole relationship between the food pantry and the church, and they were going to get back to me. Nobody ever has, so as of yet, we don't have that resolved. No money goes out until we have a contract. So we still don't have a contract.
I'm not seeing anything from the Danby Food Pantry in my records. It's possible because I do remember that as well. Laura.
Maybe we set it aside from Joel's conversation. Maybe we
Well,
had it, but we set it
either
aside.
that, or I'd say it's from last fall. That would be my other guess.
We're thinking of, because time flies,
It does.
The times run together. So it could have
Yep.
been from last fall too, Joel, that Janice and I are thinking of. So if you don't see it going out, then Janice got the record right there from, then nothing went out yet. So we're safe with that.
Yeah, and I was looking back through my emails trying to think of who the heck I was interacting with, and I couldn't find it. So I'm not even sure who to approach, but I'll talk. I know Ed Enstein, so I'll call him and find out what's up. Because the person I was referred to as the chair of their, I forget whether the chair of the finance committee or their treasurer, and I don't remember who that was. But I do remember it being left unresolved, and it still needs to be resolved.
Okay.
With not intention to not fund them, just we still don't have the context for doing it. And and what you put in for next year is what, same as last year?
Same as last year, yeah.
Yeah. Because I haven't heard anything from them. I couldn't call them and ask them if they wanted more, you know, we're okay with it or what. You know. So that's kind of a placeholder there.
Laura, where are all
Yes.
these in the budget paperwork that you submitted? I
Uh-huh.
don't see, I see youth partnership, rec partnership, I see special pond, youth and recreational library, but I don't see explicitly.
There's an appendix
pretty
A or
sure-
something at the back.
No, rec partnership does have its own line item.
Back of the
Um,
general.
In the back of the
Yeah,
general.
that I
trying
saw.
to think.
There's a breakout.
It doesn't specifically say rec partnership. I think it says youth something.
Yes,
in
it
there.
does. Yes, yes.
And you see the total, what's the total dollar amount?
To
for the
use
budget?
something as a recreation partnership though, right?
Yes,
As
It's
opposed
like-
to, yes, that's our contribution to the recreation partnership.
yes. What's the dollar amount you see?
I forgot my budget folder, but you've got it in front of you, Leslie.
What's the number?
That's what she's asking. What number is there?
Oh, I don't know.
It's under,
Looking for the number for,
Throwing stuff at me. No, I saw there's youth.
It's right in there. It's right
the
there.
rec
It's right there.
partnership? You're looking for rec partnership?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
7149.4.
There you go. Thanks, Janice.
Yeah, 7149.4.
And I believe I put the new number in there because I did get from Marty that the number that they're requesting for next year.
Yes. We
So
did,
what-
we did have that. Plug in.
Is that what this is?
Okay, and I, because I was trying to pick up papers, there's $1,000 that we want extra for the youth scholarships for the Danby Youth Commission that used to be funded through the DCC, and then the extra 1,000 came from United Way, which we can't get. But the $1,000 to continue the youth scholarship, I don't know how that should show up.
So it used to come.
I
from
think
this
I
year.
put that in.
Okay.
I know we got a quote from, we got an amount from youth services, and
Because we'd work it
now
out.
wait a
as
minute,
the,
let me think about it. What we pulled out of the community council line, okay? We
Exactly.
put money on the community council line, and we put it to the youth services, the youth commission or whatever. And I believe, because that was a question I had, that we put that scholarship money into that number, so it's lumped together.
Okay, I don't know where it is in the, and I all my papers on the floor upside down, so I've got to start all over first.
You don't know.
You know, half
there's
of
a
it's
youth and
my brain, half
recreation.
of it.
There's a youth and recreation 7330. Is that it?
That might be. What's the total dollar amount in there for the budget?
27,285.
Yep.
That's it?
Yes,
Okay.
that's it. The 27,285 is that portion of that came out of the community council.
Okay.
Right. It was formerly funneled through community council. Who was acting as our youth commission until we created
Yeah.
our own. Yeah.
No, there's
Just
zero.
wanted to make sure we,
733010.
No. 7330.4.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Does that reflect the,
So what, Laura, what's in that line?
What's in that line?
Yeah.
That is the amount that we got from, Catherine, you can help me with that one. It came from whatever would have normally gone to community council
yeah.
for youth, the youth
Shelley-
work.
Shelley Jo Lester,
Youth employment,
yeah, no, youth employment, something
Youth
different. So there's
There were
the
several
youth
components. Right?
program that we get billed by CCE. And the youth scholarship is something that people apply for to us, and then we
Scholarships.
designate.
Scholarship.
yes, I believe I lumped them both together to come up with that $27,000 number. I'll go back and double check, so next time we meet, I will have more clarification, but
Great.
I'm pretty sure that's where I grabbed those numbers and lumped them together.
Thanks.
Okay, great.
And we can separate them out if you'd like to. You know, if that is a better feel to see it like that we can do that.
So long as it's clear what's in that line.
Right,
Yeah.
and which is to
Okay,
say, we
sure.
could use some clarity, because it'd be nice to break it down to pieces so we know what they are.
Cool, okay.
Because
Yeah, we haven't gone too crazy.
You've got the scholarship
Yeah.
is one component, you've got the
Youth program.
youth program is another component.
I think that's the two components, is it?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's it, just those two components.
right. But as distinguished from the youth services contract, which is a separate,
That's a
Altogether.
separate line.
yeah.
Yes,
Does that one include the youth employment?
The youth employment that's a separate item,
Yeah, is it part of,
and I don't think that's in there.
that's what I was wondering, whether, would that be a third component?
What's that?
That would be a third.
no, okay, I'll go back and dissect that. We'll be clear in next budget meeting.
All right,
So we know for sure that I've got that right, okay?
Okay.
speaking of which,
Yeah, what's the next?
when are we going to next have another budget meeting? Because we still got some more work to do here.
Yes, we have things like attorneys' lines. We're gonna look at the supervisors' lines. Go to, that type of thing, and then whatever, was wrapped up for whatever's going on with the town clerk's line.
Yeah,
Today's Wednesday.
today's Wednesday the 19th. So, we could meet in a week, or we could meet sooner, given that we still have to go over we still haven't approved the general fund and the highway fund abstract.
Probably should be on Monday.
I could do that.
Yeah, how about Monday?
No, I can't do Monday. The Energy Committee of the TCOG is having their solar development webinars at 6:30.
How about Tuesday?
Tuesday before the BZA.
Could do that. I have a meeting at 3:30, but after that won't probably take more than half an hour.
Tuesday?
Yeah, so we could meet like, what, 5 o'clock?
What time is the BZA
Sure.
meeting?
That's an hour and a half.
Yeah,
Museum meeting is at 7.
their meeting's at 7.
So that gives us a couple of hours to hash through some of the stuff. Plus Monday gives me the time to go through, make any additional changes from these meetings we've had so that we have something clear.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
We're keeping it all updated as we go.
so we could, is 5 soon enough? I thought it would be 4:30.
I know I have to work at the library a bunch this week. So I don't know.
What do you think, Kathy?
I don't know. Whatever anybody else says,
Yeah.
hopefully 5 o'clock.
Leslie's not quite here.
Is it- The
What's the date?
BZA is, then, are they meeting in person?
The 25th?
Yes, they have to. So they'll be here too. So we have a hard deadline to get out of the way. So 4:30 might be better because it would give us 2 hours and then room to, time to clear the
That's all,
room.
10 to 12:30 on Tuesday? Okay, cool, cool beans. All right, thanks, I'm sorry. Okay, bye.
So that was clarification regarding your availability, right?
Yes,
Yes, yeah,
well, because the library book sale's going on.
Oh,
yeah. Is 4:30 work?
Like, what time?
4:30?
Sure.
So I move we meet on the budget and also for the other action items left over on the paying the bills.
The audits for the general and highway.
Yeah,
Okay,
well, audits in action.
I'll second that.
You mind if I ask, and I know I've come in and didn't hear that, what happened with the highway abstract or the,
I messed up and didn't collate them. It was me.
okay, that's all right, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
I was just
Yep.
wondering if there was something I
Sorry.
could clarify quickly. That's all
No,
right.
it was just that
wondering if there was something
used
could
that.
clarify quickly.
Yeah, you sent me the backup and I just didn't attach them to the vouchers. Sorry.
It's okay, we got it, we'll get it.
Ashes with a wet noodle.
Multiple wet noodles. All right. You ready for the vote?
Yes.
Okay. Connors,
Aye.
Hunter,
I,
Woodworth,
Yes.
Gagnon.
Yes.
4:30.
I move we schedule the budget public hearing for November 1st.
November 1st?
Yeah. That's the first regular meeting in November, is out 1st of November. Do I have a second?
Reluctantly second.
You
Okay.
want
So that's it.
to talk about it? Yeah.
Couple more meetings, yeah.
Well, I'm hoping to get it done in one,
Yeah, maybe discussion.
because we've reviewed everything once.
Wait a minute. My calendar says there's a court night that night,
November 1st, Tuesday?
November 1st. But I don't know how it knows that.
I don't know how it knows it either. I mean, when they normally have court, they have it over there, unless there's a trial or
Depends on how
something.
big it is. Janice, do you know how we find out if court is that night? Is November okay?
I can check. Teresa was on earlier. I see that she's not here anymore.
Right,
Yeah, nobody's let me know about court, so.
Not on the calendar?
mm-mm.
is it a Tuesday?
Yeah,
November?
Tuesday. It's a Tuesday.
Well,
It
they
says Monday. I don't know why it says it. Court night right here. It says
first Tuesday of every.
first Tuesday.
Where are you looking?
It came up on my Google Calendar, court night,
Okay.
Danby court night. It might be something. that
Might have
has
been
to be
used once upon a
reserved.
time.
What?
Maybe it's just old information.
It says repeats monthly, but yeah, it probably is old information. I don't know where it came from.
'Cause we used to have court in the evenings,
Yeah.
Okay.
and then they moved to the morning.
I'm gonna delete it
Oh, they
if I
moved it to the
can.
morning?
Yeah,
Oh,
unless it's, I mean, maybe it's the trials that would be,
Well, no, even the last trial they had was still it was in the morning during the day.
yeah,
Mhm.
that reduces the conflict potential. So I think we're good with that possibility.
okay. All right. I'll deal with it. So, 6 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay.
Need more
Can I
discussion? Can you
Can I
what?
also add, that as you guys are going through this and thinking about the budget, and between now and then, if you have any questions, any thoughts, anything that's not clear up to this point, call me anytime. You guys all have my cell number. I don't even care if it's in the evening, whenever, okay? The more interaction we can have between each other for understanding, the better we'll make each of these meetings. So you got any questions, call. I'm so happy to talk to you.
Good.
Okey doke.
Ready for a vote? Yep. Okay, Janice?
Oh, Connors,
Aye.
Hunter,
I,
Woodworth,
Yes.
And Kenyon.
Hi.
There we go.
No, I got 3 out of 4. Thank you.
Okay, items for the next agenda. We got stuff postponed. We have the table, the
The sexual harassment
second harassment, and
policy,
also the cannabis
cannabis,
thing get constrained, came back up. And of course, there'll be more about the budget.
and if we have time, and I mean, the budget comes first, so I would like to review the application procedure again,
Okay,
just to go over it and
yeah.
check out the form and stuff.
And-
We may not have time, I mean, this is no big deal.
We'll see, right? Okay. With that, we're a little over time. Meeting adjourned.
Great.
Take care, everyone.
Thank
Hang in
you.
there.
Thanks for your patience with me tonight.
Thanks for
I'm
joining.
in Massachusetts. I'm outside right now. It is cold, but the colors are beautiful.
Wow.
And the leaves are all falling on the floor, on the ground, and
What are you doing there? What are you doing there?
going to Salem.
So she's going
Oh.
to Salem for.
I had an opportunity with like a mother-daughter trip.
I'll keep
My
you.
daughter said, "Please go with us." So I'm going to go to Salem. I've never been there, so we'll see what all that's about.
Oh. Huh.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
All righty.
Good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Good
Bye.
night.
Bye.